In the video, a Tatra 148 truck becomes deeply bogged down after sinking into thick mud on an unpaved road. The heavy vehicle struggles to move as its wheels spin helplessly, buried in the soft ground. To recover it, a larger yellow heavy-duty truck is brought in to assist with the rescue. A strong towing cable is securely attached between the two vehicles. Using its greater power and traction, the yellow truck slowly applies pulling force. Step by step, the stuck Tatra is dragged out of the muddy trap and finally freed, demonstrating effective teamwork and proper recovery techniques. A shipping container becomes stuck in thick mud along an unpaved road due to heavy rain and poor ground conditions. The wheels sink deeply into the soft soil, making it impossible for the container truck to move forward. After several failed attempts to free it, a large heavy-duty truck is brought in to assist. Using strong towing cables and steady traction, the truck slowly pulls the container out of the muddy section. Once freed, the container can continue its journey along the remote route. The vehicle struggles to move forward along a narrow road completely covered in thick, slippery mud. As the wheels sink deeper, the driver carefully follows shouted instructions from outside, adjusting the steering and shifting between reverse and forward. Step by step, the car is guided straight back, then slowly pushed forward again to find better traction. The engine revs gently, avoiding sudden acceleration that could worsen the situation. At critical moments, the driver selects second gear instead of drive to maintain control and prevent wheel spin. Passengers step out to reduce weight and improve grip. With constant communication, precise steering, and gradual throttle input, the tires finally bite into firmer ground. After several tense attempts, the vehicle gains momentum and successfully escapes the muddy trap, continuing along the rugged, waterlogged road. The loaded timber truck carefully approaches a steep and slippery slope. Due to the heavy weight of the logs and the poor traction on the road surface, the DAF CF85 struggles to generate enough power to climb uphill safely. The driver advances slowly, controlling the throttle to avoid wheel spin, but the incline proves too difficult for the truck to overcome on its own. To prevent the vehicle from sliding backward or damaging the drivetrain, a powerful tractor is brought in to assist. The tractor positions itself behind the truck and applies steady pushing force, synchronizing with the truck's movement. With careful coordination between both drivers, the combined effort gradually pushes the loaded truck up the slope. Thanks to this controlled assistance, the timber truck successfully reaches the top without accidents, ensuring both vehicle safety and cargo stability. On the muddy stretch of the Trans-Amazonica Highway, a pickup truck struggles to cross an extremely dangerous road, softened by heavy rain. The vehicle slowly advances while people around guide the driver with constant instructions, warning him not to brake suddenly and to keep steady control. As the rear begins to slide, the team pushes from behind and carefully throws sand under the tires to improve traction. Every movement is calculated. Half a tire at a time, slight steering corrections, and very low speed. The driver follows the guidance precisely, keeping the wheels aligned with the narrow, firm path. After several tense moments, the pickup finally regains grip, straightens out, and safely passes through the muddy obstacle, proving teamwork and patience are essential on such treacherous terrain. The video documents an expedition of pickup trucks traveling from Manaus to Fortaleza along the BR-319 Trans-Amazonica Highway. As the convoy crosses the states of Amazonas, Para, Tocantins, Maranhão, Piauí, and Ceará, the vehicles face some of the most challenging road conditions in Brazil. Heavy rain has turned long sections of the route into deep mud, making traction extremely difficult. The pickup trucks move slowly, carefully selecting their paths to avoid getting stuck. In several areas, damaged bridges and uneven ground force drivers to rely on teamwork, momentum, and precise driving skills. Despite the harsh terrain, the vehicles continue forward, demonstrating durability, determination, and the critical role of off-road vehicles in overcoming the extreme conditions of the Trans-Amazonica. In this dramatic recovery operation, a giant heavy-duty vehicle is deployed to rescue a stranded armored personnel carrier, trapped deep in thick mud. The armored vehicle, disabled after one of its tracks has broken, is unable to move under its own power. Its heavy steel body sinks further into the soft ground with every failed attempt to escape, increasing the risk of severe mechanical damage. To resolve the situation, the recovery team brings in a massive giant tractor designed for extreme pulling force. Steel towing cables are carefully attached to the armored vehicle's reinforced recovery points. After checking alignment and tension, the giant vehicle slowly applies power. The mud resists fiercely, clinging to the tracks and hull, but the enormous torque gradually overcomes the suction force. Step by step, the armored personnel carrier begins to move. Thick mud peels away from the broken track as the vehicle is dragged forward. After a sustained pull, the armored vehicle is finally freed from the bog. This operation highlights the importance of specialized recovery vehicles in military logistics and demonstrates how raw pulling power and careful coordination can successfully extract heavy armored steel machines from extreme terrain conditions. The heavily loaded logging truck struggled to climb a steep slope deep in the forest. The pile of freshly felled logs behind it made the truck incredibly heavy and difficult to maneuver. The steepness, combined with the damp ground and rough terrain, made the climb impossible. After several unsuccessful attempts, the truck was forced to stop, stuck halfway up the slope. Understanding the danger of rolling backward or damaging the drivetrain, the drivers decided to call for help. Another logging truck, also robust and built for harsh conditions, arrived. This second truck carefully positioned itself at the top of the slope, ensuring stable ground and proper alignment. Then, heavy-duty tow chains were attached between the two vehicles, linking the front of the stuck truck to the rear of the support vehicle. Once everything was secure, both drivers coordinated their actions precisely. The tow truck began pulling steadily, using controlled traction to avoid sudden jerks. At the same time, the stuck truck gently started its engine, assisting the towing without spinning the wheels. Mud splattered as the tires slowly regained traction, and the massive logs began to move uphill. The climb was slow and tense, but teamwork and experience made all the difference. Meter by meter, the stuck truck was pulled higher until it finally reached solid ground at the top of the slope. The chains were removed, and both vehicles paused briefly, allowing the drivers to check for damage and ensure the cargo remained securely fastened. This rescue illustrates the harsh realities of logging work. Steep hills, heavy loads, and unpredictable terrain make every trip a challenge, proving that in the logging industry, cooperation and skill are essential for survival and success. A heavy Kraz truck becomes deeply stuck in slippery mud, its wheels spinning helplessly on the soaked ground. Due to the severe conditions, recovery is impossible alone. A powerful Tatra 148 arrives to assist, and by combining traction and controlled pulling, the two trucks work together to gradually free the stranded vehicle from the mud. The Oshkosh M1070 faces extreme difficulty while moving along a mountain road completely covered in thick mud and wet clay. Continuous rain has turned the steep route into a slippery surface where traction is severely reduced. As the heavy military tractor begins its climb, its massive wheels struggle to grip the ground, spinning repeatedly as the vehicle advances only a short distance at a time. Despite its powerful engine and all-wheel drive system, the M1070 must proceed slowly and carefully. The driver maintains steady throttle control to avoid sudden wheel spin, while the suspension works constantly to keep the vehicle balanced on the uneven terrain. Deep ruts formed by previous vehicles force the truck to tilt from side to side, increasing the risk of sliding backward. Mud splashes against the chassis as the wheels dig deeper, and progress becomes a test of patience and precision rather than speed. At several points, the vehicle nearly loses momentum, but the torque of the engine allows it to recover and continue climbing. Each meter gained requires controlled power and precise steering. This challenging ascent clearly demonstrates the Oshkosh M1070's durability and engineering. Even in the worst road conditions, where ordinary trucks would become completely immobilized, the vehicle continues forward. The scene highlights the harsh realities of off-road transportation and the importance of specialized heavy-duty vehicles when operating in extreme environments. The video shows a heavy logging truck struggling to cross the Marmorana wooden bridge, a narrow and dangerous structure built entirely from timber. The bridge has no guardrails, leaving both the driver and the vehicle exposed to the risk of falling into the river below. As the truck slowly moves forward, the wooden planks bend and creak under the immense weight of the loaded logs. The driver must maintain perfect alignment, as even a small steering mistake could cause the wheels to slip off the edge. The uneven surface forces the truck to advance at a very low speed, while the suspension absorbs constant vibrations. Each meter crossed increases tension, highlighting the fragile balance between the truck's weight and the bridge's limited strength. This scene clearly reflects the harsh working conditions faced by timber transport operators in remote regions, where infrastructure is minimal and every crossing becomes a test of skill, patience, and courage. In the video Getting Stuck Chevy Way, a Chevrolet pickup truck becomes firmly trapped in a muddy creek after attempting to cross unstable, waterlogged terrain. What initially appears to be a shallow crossing quickly turns into a serious recovery situation as the truck's tires lose traction and sink deep into the soft mud at the creek bed. The flowing water, combined with saturated soil, creates a strong suction effect that prevents the vehicle from moving under its own power. As the driver tries to accelerate, the wheels spin uselessly, throwing mud and water while the chassis settles even deeper. It becomes clear that external assistance is required. A Caterpillar heavy machine, commonly referred to as a CAT, is brought to the scene to perform the recovery. Its tracked undercarriage provides excellent stability and grip on the slippery ground surrounding the creek, making it well suited for this demanding task. Before the pull begins, a strong recovery chain or tow strap is carefully attached to the Chevrolet's frame at a reinforced towing point. Proper alignment is crucial to avoid damage to the vehicle and to ensure that the pulling force is applied evenly. The CAT operator positions the machine on solid ground, maintaining a straight pulling angle to reduce resistance from the mud. Once everything is secured, the Caterpillar applies steady, controlled power rather than a sudden jerk. The tracks slowly engage, transferring massive torque to the ground. Gradually, the Chevrolet begins to move. Thick mud releases its grip on the tires inch by inch as water ripples around the truck's wheels. The recovery is slow but deliberate, demonstrating the importance of patience and controlled force in off-road extractions. As the Chevrolet is pulled free from the creek, its tires finally regain traction on firmer soil. Mud drips from the undercarriage, clearly showing how deeply the vehicle had been embedded. The successful recovery highlights the contrast between a standard road vehicle and heavy construction equipment when operating in extreme terrain conditions.
The tree has an indent in it. You can hear it.
Hey, turn on the heater. The heater will be dry. You can drive over that, huh?
Dude, look at that.
This scene serves as a clear reminder of the risks involved in crossing muddy creeks without proper assessment. It also showcases the effectiveness, power, and reliability of Caterpillar machines in vehicle recovery operations. Through careful setup and precise control, what could have resulted in serious damage is resolved safely, turning a difficult situation into a practical demonstration of heavy equipment-assisted recovery. The rescue scene shows one truck helping another truck get out of a muddy section of road. The truck was stuck, unable to move forward due to the slippery mud. A second truck carefully moved to a safer location and attached a tow cable. With steady pulling force and controlled acceleration, it successfully pulled the stuck truck out of the slippery section of road and moved it forward. The scene highlights the extreme danger faced by a bus traveling through a narrow mountain gorge. The road runs along the edge of a steep abyss, where loose soil and rocks could collapse at any moment. With almost no space for error, the driver must keep the bus balanced on the fragile track. Local residents play a crucial role by guiding the driver, signaling safe wheel positions, and warning of unstable ground. Thanks to their experience and calm coordination, the driver manages to steer the bus forward. In the end, both the bus and its passengers cross the hazardous section safely, avoiding a potentially deadly accident.
Por poquito.
The rescue of the orange bus takes place on a severely muddy and flooded rural road between Villavicencio, Palmerito, and Vichada. As the bus attempts to pass through the slippery section, its wheels lose traction and sink into the soft mud, leaving the vehicle stuck at an angle. Passengers and bystanders begin recording the situation while drivers carefully coordinate the recovery. Another bus that had crossed earlier is positioned ahead and prepared to assist. To avoid sudden impacts, the drivers move slowly and communicate constantly, asking for gentle pressure and controlled pulling. A winch is then attached to the stuck bus, and steady tension is applied to prevent further sliding or damage. Gradually, the bus is pulled forward and lifted out of the mud. During the operation, people comment on the extremely poor road conditions and demand urgent repairs from local authorities, highlighting the risks faced daily by passengers and drivers on this route. The scene shows a heavy-duty truck towing another truck through a muddy. The leading truck moves slowly, using its engine power and traction to pull the stranded vehicle forward. Thick mud covers the road surface, causing the wheels to spin and sink, which makes movement extremely difficult. A strong tow cable connects the two trucks, remaining under constant tension as the front truck carefully accelerates. Drivers must precisely control speed and steering to avoid slipping sideways or breaking the tow line. Despite the challenging conditions, steady pulling force and coordination allow both vehicles to progress. This operation demonstrates how towing techniques and vehicle power are essential for overcoming muddy terrain in remote rural areas. On the muddy roads of Meta and Vichada, a truck becomes deeply stuck in thick mud. Unable to move forward, it must rely on a larger, more powerful truck to tow it free and continue the journey. The heavily loaded logging truck slowly advances along a narrow dirt road that has turned into a deep stretch of mud after continuous rain. Its cargo bay is stacked high with freshly cut timber, adding enormous weight and reducing traction. As the driver attempts to push forward, the wheels begin to spin, sinking deeper into the soft ground. Thick mud quickly builds up around the tires, and the truck loses all forward momentum, becoming firmly stuck in the middle of the road. Realizing that self-recovery is impossible, another logging truck loaded with wood arrives from behind to provide assistance. The drivers carefully position the rescue truck on firmer ground to ensure maximum stability. A heavy-duty towing cable is then attached securely to the front chassis of the stuck vehicle and the rear hitch of the assisting truck. Before pulling, both drivers coordinate their actions to avoid sudden jerks that could damage the vehicles or snap the cable. As the assisting truck applies steady pulling force, the stuck truck simultaneously accelerates gently, allowing the tires to regain some grip. Mud and water are thrown outward as the wheels begin to climb out of the ruts. After several tense moments, the trapped truck finally breaks free from the mud. Slowly, both vehicles move forward together until the rescued truck reaches solid ground. This operation highlights the challenges of transporting timber through muddy forest roads and demonstrates the importance of teamwork, proper towing techniques, and experience when working in extreme off-road conditions. The rescue process begins when a pickup truck becomes stranded in the middle of a shallow but fast-moving river. The vehicle loses traction on the slippery rocks beneath the water and is unable to move forward or reverse. To prevent further drifting, the driver shuts off the engine and waits for assistance. Several other pickup trucks are then positioned on stable ground along the riverbank and upstream, forming a controlled recovery setup. Heavy-duty steel towing cables are carefully connected to the recovery points of the stuck vehicle. The cables are also secured to the assisting trucks, ensuring proper alignment to avoid sudden jerks or cable failure. Once all connections are checked, the assisting drivers coordinate their actions. The lead pickup applies steady pulling force, while the others provide additional traction and stability. The tension in the cables gradually increases, allowing the stranded vehicle to break free from the rocks holding its wheels. Throughout the process, slow and controlled movements are maintained to counter the strong water current. As the pickup is pulled closer to the riverbank, its wheels regain traction on firmer ground. The cables remain under tension until the vehicle is fully out of the water. Finally, the cables are disconnected, and the rescued pickup is guided to a safe area, completing the recovery operation without further damage.